Hello. We are into session 6 today and we are going to discuss about how to work with any personality, and this time we are discussing about DISC. Most workplaces conflict is not about the competence or intention. It is all about the style. DISC explain us the behavioral styles of each personality. DISC model is a behavior assessment tool which helps to improve workplace communication, reduce conflict, and enhance the team collaboration. It categorizes behavior into primary four quadrants: dominance, influence, steadiness, and conscientiousness. Understanding the four disc type is basically what each of them focus on, what are their core traits, and what are the major fears which are related to it. Before we get into the details of each of them, I just want to tell you how we can work with different personalities. To work with different personalities, you must adapt the communication style to match the others. The strategy known as platinum rule, which is treating others as they want to be treated, is really helpful to understand. But before letting get into the platinum rule, what you have to do is you have to understand the pattern. If you understand your own pattern plus the pattern how the person is wanted to be perceived, it is easier to communicate and collaborate and get along with them. You must have been working with many people at once. And while you are working with these people, for every single person, you might have to adapt their personality, which takes a little bit more time, like weeks or some hours, to understand them and absorb them what exactly they want. People do it with experience, and while sometimes people do it with experience, some people are not natural observers. So what they can do is they can use these practical understandings and then can practice every day while meeting any person within for 2 minutes as well. While you work with dominance, your communication usually get direct. Whenever this personality is approaching to you, they'll skip this small talk and they'll be very, very concise and direct in their communications. You'll also notice that their center discussions would be on the result and solutions rather than discussing over the problems. The approach they prefer is high level summaries with clear options, like this is the problem solution, what we can do, and these are the options which we can work on. This also allows them to have a sense of autonomy and decision making power, which they usually seek for. While you work with influencers is I, where the communication is more warm and energetic. They take time with a casual conversation as well. Their focus area is to use stories and examples rather than long block of data and text. They try to comfort you first and then they try to get the extract of information based on the data or text and the story what they compose around their conversation. Their approach is basically about recognizing the ideas as well as creating the opportunities for them to collaborate with others. The next come as steadiness, where steadiness it is scoring high, then you will see them as calm, sincere, and patient person. Their focus is more about how the changes or decision will benefit the team and maintain harmony. They better go with the planned results and structured solutions rather than assuming or pressurizing someone for immediate decisions. They give time to reflect and process the information. Conscientiousness. This is the score which is dominant for the people who are very thorough and well organized. They provide the fact and documentation for every conversation. Their focus is prioritize the quality and logic and avoid the emotional appeals and vague generalizations. They talked with facts. Their approach is allowing them to work independently and provide detailed, clear instructions in writing, and they'll do the best. So the thing is, all these DISC are different uh, patterns, but each of them are available in all of us. Sometimes dominance is required in some work more rather than conscientiousness or steadiness or influence. Depending on the work, workplace, environment, situation, communication, and the social gathering, you are more focused on one particular area as compared to the other. But Obviously, we are blending all those things, but if you know your pattern, which scores high in your characteristic or your type, then it is much easier for you to use your less brain, being less sensitive during that conversation and enjoy the conversation in more natural way. Now, what are the different strategic applications about these DISC personalities is first conflict resolution. If you understand, you can depersonalize the conflict. You can understand what kind of understanding the other person gathers from the particular information which is being provided. And then it doesn't feel like a personal attack, because usually what happens is if we are not understanding the personality, we stick to one perspective and we are not able to understand the other person from their perspective. It calls it as a personal attack, like the person is going to be critic for us. It helps us to reduce that part and stops the bluntness of conversation, make it into a strategic pathway to get the end result. Team meetings. Sometimes what happens is whenever we are communicating something or something is communicated to us, we try to speak from our mind and many others as well. So while we do that, we try to judge the other person rather than understanding from where, from what perspective they are coming. Leaders do it really best. However, as a peer, you can grow this quality and skill and can understand the meeting where you are already present, not as a defined leader, but that understanding also creates your wiser version in the meeting. Another one is feedback. So whenever we are trying to give a feedback or we are talking with a manager or a senior person, even in the relationship, we are talking to our partners or the senior or elders of our in our relationship, it is really important to talk with a feedback perspective. So we offer a person to speak after us. However, we want them to talk in a way where we can also understand. So how we can express ourselves so that the other person would also try to make a balance. If you are from a dominant side and other person is conscientiousness uh, personality, then you might have to reduce your dominance while talking to that person and try to balance the conversation in that way. And while you do that, the other person can also absorb the same level of frequency with you while explaining, but your understanding would help you better to manage your anxiety or your overwhelm in terms of what you want to communicate with the other person as well. Now, you know what? Tony Robbins also uses disc, and why they use disc, we are going to discuss further. And for that, I'm going to share a presentation with you. While I do that, I just want to know, have you been doing all the sessions, all the tests which are being given to you? If not, please do that, because while you do that, you will try to understand each of the pattern, and that would be a kind of game for you to understand and observe the people, because we are always surrounded by the people, even our parents, even our partners, even our friends, peer groups. We are in canteen, we are in cafeterias, we are in restaurants, and that is something that helps us to understand more about the personalities and how we can improvise the communication. It is really a good way to increase your confidence as well as communication while you do this every single day, at least for one person. Even they don't have to know about it, but it is your understanding and your notes which can make a difference while working with any of them, or not working at all, but an understanding from the personality point of view. Now, coming to the presentation, now we are talking about using DISC personality profiles for effective collaboration. What we are going to discuss into this is understanding the DISC model, which I have a little bit I have already explained to you, working with different type of DISC types and the role of coaches and DISC. Now, the first one is the four DISC personality types. So, dominance, influence, steadiness, and conscientiousness are different types where each have a different primary focus, core traits, and major fears. When we talk about dominance, it primarily focus on results. As I told you, they are solution focused people. They talk very direct and they escape the small talk. Their core traits are assertive, direct, competitive, and decisive. What are the major fears? When you talk to a dominant personalities, they are always trying to be in charge of certain thing. They are really unhappy to lose the control, and they really are fearful about somebody can take advantage of them. So they always want to be at the highest point. That is the trait. It's not something where they are trying to they are bad at it, but this is the trait where they want to stay in the power, want to stay in the decision making circumference. This is a personality type. Influence. Influence primary focus is relationships. They are enthusiastic, persuasive, optimistic, and sociable. They are fearful of social rejection and loss of approval. They work on validations and they work when they reflect. They want to get that confirmance from the other person or the people. These are very natural in their work and they are very enthusiastic, and that's why people seek their impact and their presence around, because it helps them to comfort, and the same thing gives them an energy to work forward. Steadiness. Steadiness primary focus is stability. Patient, dependable, supportive, empathetic. But they are fearful of sudden change and loss of stability. They are basically the person who is called Mr. Dependent. They are very supportive and empathetic. They give you a space and hold space for you when you are trying to communicate your own point. They prefer stability rather than the chaos and running towards the results. They are just opposite of dominance, and they just want to collaborate all together. However, a sudden change or sudden instinct or sudden action, what is required is something that imbalances them a little bit, because that's where they don't find the time to collaborate and work together. Conscientiousness focuses on accuracy. They work very, very factfully. They are analytical, they are precise, they are systematic and detailed oriented. However, their major fear is being wrong in criticism, because they try to do it. They try to work everything perfectly, and they are very, very conscious about it. But as soon as you are putting finger on something like this is wrong or this is not getting right, then they feel really worried about why I'm being wrong, because they put all their effort and energy into it. So these are the different type of personality traits which are very, very useful in different type of job roles and careers, as well as in relationships when you are along with different personalities. Some relationships we choose, some relationships are given to us. While some relationships which are given to us, we try to understand those personalities because we are living with for a very long time with them, and we are trying to connect with them for a very long time, even though we are connected with some of the other societal roles. But understanding the pattern helps us to absorb and understand them better, as compared to make your mind frustrated about why this person is reacting the other way. It makes you wiser. Trust me. Now, coming to key features of DISC, behavior quadrants and observable behaviors. Behavioral quadrants. Detailed description about this goes like this: categorizes behavior into dominance, influence, steadiness, and conscientiousness, making it easier to understand different personality traits in their workplace. As I said, observable behaviors. Unlike other models, this focuses on external behavior which is visible and actionable. Enhancing practical applications in the team settings do help the teams as well as organizations to work well. Now, working with the different DISC personalities. What are the different strategies which we can use in collaboration? As I have given certain examples of meetings, interacting with the colleagues, relations, and so on, there are certain communication styles which are adaptive. Effective communication involves tailoring your style to match others, following the platinum rule of treating others as wish they are to be treated. Addressing needs and fears. Each personality type has a specific needs and fears. Understanding these can help to reduce the conflict and improve the collaboration. Now, coming to the last part of it, what are the practical applications? As I explained you in the team meetings, structuring team meetings to suit different disk types can enhance participation and productivity. For example, providing agendas in advance can help the conscientiousness type to prepare. In the similar way, you can make a list of those people, those category of personalities as well, who really want to speak up by giving them space, giving a chance to say, providing the action item to the person who is really action oriented and the person who want to collaborate as a person who is leading the team. Conflict resolution. Recognizing and respecting different disk styles can depersonalize conflicts and make resolution more straightforward and effective. So finally, this is something that makes a difference to each personality. How do they work and how do they can improvise? I have also seen Tony Robbins using disk personalities, and I just cannot escape this part. So basically, how he uses in personal coaching, that they want to understand the behavior patterns and try to leverage their strengths for the personal growth and success. And Tony Robbins do the same. When you go to any website of Tony Robbins, you can see how they have created a test. You can try that test as well, and you will get your result, what kind of personality is dominant in you. And then in corporate training, in corporate environments, this approach using DISC help teams to improve communication, achieve breakthroughs in performance. And finally, when we talk about all this, the final benefit of using DISC is predictable the success patterns. DISC profiles helps to identify personal strengths, blind spots, offering the insights into potential areas for development and success. And it creates a common language. It provides a shared vocabulary for the team, facilitating better understanding and collaboration across different behavioral styles. So here we come to an end of session 6, and I hope you have enjoyed the whole session. If you want to go further with the practical experimentations of this, you can connect me on my LinkedIn or as well as Instagram profile, and I can reach out to you for any conversations you go further along while practical experimentation or practice sessions for these personality types. If you want to improve, so do comment and let me know how do you like this session altogether. Thank you so much.